All right, now I'm going to take a brief departure from the audio side of Octatrack, and we're going to look at the MIDI tracks and the MIDI sequencer. Next to the mixer button, there's a button here that says MIDI. And if I press this, the tracks change. I see a bunch of X's here. These are all different MIDI tracks. I see it says part 1 MIDI channel here. All these different settings look different. Everything looks different because now we're on the MIDI side of the Octatrack. So I have 8 tracks of MIDI that I can use to sequence external gear. And I happen to have my little Novation circuit over here hiding in the corner. I'll just show this very quickly. Didn't have room to kind of put it in the display, but we don't really need to see it. Just know that I'm controlling it from the Octatrack. I'm choosing the circuit because the circuit has drum sounds and synth sounds, but it doesn't sample. Octatrack samples, but it doesn't have drum sounds and synth sounds, so the combination just makes a lot of sense. Now, the way that circuit works, there's 2 different synth parts, and synth part 1 responds to MIDI channel 1, synth part 2 responds to MIDI channel 2, and there's 4 drum parts that all respond to MIDI channel 10. I can control and sequence all of these directly from the Octatrack. Now, the first thing I need to do is properly set this up. I'm going to double tap my playback button here, and what we're seeing now looks different from what we saw on the audio side of things. The only thing I'm really concerned with right now is making sure that this track is sending out MIDI data on channel 1. If I want to change that, I can just turn this knob and then press in to make sure that I confirm that this track is going to be sending out MIDI on channel 1. All right, so far so good. Now, just like we can change the playback mode of these trigs in the audio area, we can do the same thing here. If I hold function and I press my up arrow, I have the ability to use these trigs to trigger the sound on a particular track, to play it chromatically, to do quick mutes. What I want to do is be able to play this particular MIDI channel chromatically. And when I do that, I don't hear anything, but I can see that my inputs for C and D light up. I happen to have the output of my circuit going into inputs C and D. So if I want to be able to hear what's going on, I have to go into my mixer and make sure the direct input for C and D is all the way up. Either that, or I could use a through machine on one of my tracks and have circuit go through there. But right now, I just want to hear what's coming in from circuit. And oops, let me get out of there now. All right, so now, all right, so I'm playing the first synth part on circuit. And right now, this is set to a scale. I'm going to make it so that I can play this chromatically. So each note that I play here, there we go. Okay, so I'm able to send out MIDI note data on channel 1 using track 1. I'm going to go to track 2, and I want to set this to send out MIDI note data on channel 2. So then I can play both synth parts from circuit. So I'm going to double tap on the playback button here, the channel. I'll turn this to channel 2, press in, and I'll exit here. And now, all right. Cool. All right, so now I could sequence both of these using my Octatrack. But as I said, there's also a drum part, and the drum part receives MIDI channel 10. So let me go ahead and set that up as well. Track 3 is here. Double tap on my playback, change this to MIDI channel 10. And the only thing that's a little bit annoying with how circuit works with the drum parts, there's 4 drum parts. They each only respond to 1 note. So I have to make sure that I'm in the right octave range to trigger those notes. And I had set this up before, so already good to go there. Now, since I have this little latency that's going on, I don't want to sequence anything in real time right now, but I would like to add some of these drums, maybe add some of the synth stuff as well. And I can control the control change messages on circuit, which means that I could modulate parameters on circuit directly from the Octatrack. So I'd like to set all that up. So let's go ahead and play this. And I'm going to mute the first audio track. I'm going to hit my mixer button. My audio tracks are here. My MIDI tracks are here. I just want to mute the first audio track. All right, so I'm able to do that. So now I'm here. So I want to enter some of these drum sounds, but I don't want to record this in real time. So what's the most effective way to do this? Well, if I go into my grid recording mode, and actually before I do that, let me just point something out. If we look down here under where it says chromatic, this is telling us what octave we're currently in. We're in the 4th octave, and there's an F, and then there's the arrows. If I want to change what octave that I'm currently playing with my little chromatic layout here, I hold function, and I press my arrow key to the left to go down. Now we're in octave 3, or to the right to go up. Now I'm in octave 4, and the first 4 notes, the first 4 white keys in octave 4 are triggering my drum sounds from circuit. So my snare, this should be D4 right here. So if I want to enter my snare into the sequence, I can go into my grid recording mode, and this step is going to be my snare. I'm going to hold this down, and the same way we can parameter lock everything else, the note value is a parameter that can be locked to this particular step. So this note should be D4. There we go. And the same way that I can copy and paste trigs on the audio side, I can do the same thing here. So I'm going to copy this, hold the trig, press copy, and I'm going to paste it here at step 15. This first trig, I'm going to make my kick. I'm going to hold this down, and my kick should be C4. Sounds pretty low, so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste this here. And maybe there too. And then we have 2 different hi-hat type sounds. And I believe it's E4 and F4. So I'm going to go ahead and put one of those here. Let's go for E4. I went up too high. Maybe F4. It's more obvious. So I'm going to put this on every other 8th note. So step 3, copy that, paste it on 7, 11. Yeah, that works for now. All right, so I've been able to sequence some drums from circuit. I'm going to go to MIDI track 1. And I want to go down an octave, so I'm going to hold function, press the left arrow. All right, so I want to try to add the first synth part here into the sequence, and I think that I need 2 pages worth of steps, 32 steps, in order to get the pattern that I want. So I'll simply hold function, press the scale setup, and on this particular track, this track is going to be 32 steps. All right. All right, so this time I will try to record in real time. If I need to correct the timing of the notes, it'll be relatively easy to do. So we got that going. So that's what I'm thinking as a pattern. I want to record in real time. I'm going to hold my record button down and then press play. Okay, not bad. I don't even mind the timing being off a little bit on that one note. If I wanted to add the other synth part here, I can go to track 2. Let me go up a couple octaves, function. All right, I'll do something like that. So I need to make this longer as well. 32 steps. And I'll record this in real time too. Now that first step is off. I see it's a step late here. I can simply just copy that step and then paste it where it should go. There we go, that solves that problem. Now if I go back into my mixer, if I want to, I can mute the MIDI tracks as well as the audio tracks. So extremely useful. But like I said, we can also manipulate the parameters on circuit directly from Octatrack. Let's check out how to do that next.